Good afternoon. As Mayor of Zebulon, I welcome you all. I certainly welcome the family members first. We're both happy and sad for y'all today. Sad for you because of your loss, but we're happy that you finally get closure. And, you know, I know that's really a sad time for you, but it's also a great time because he's getting recognized for what he did. I also like to welcome all of our Chinese personnel that are here today. I'm overwhelmed by the number of people that's come from various places to get here today. That almost more of them than they are of the people who live around here. And that says a lot for them, and thank y'all for being here. We're here to honor and celebrate First Lieutenant Robert Eugene Oxford, who died in a crash some 3 or 4 years ago, trying to carry supplies to aid the war in Japan. The Chinese were very supplemental to us in giving us a place to operate from because we didn't have any other place close enough to go and come from except China, so thank y'all for that. Jesus said that a true friend is one who's willing to give his life for another. That would include Mr. Lieutenant Oxford. He was willing to give it all for his friends. For that very reason, we have freedom in this country today. We could have very easily been speaking some foreign language and have some military dictator ruling over us. So, thanks greatly to him for that.
Lieutenant Robert Eugene Oxford, age 24, of Concord, passed away January the 25th, 1944, while serving in the Army Air Corps during World War II. Eugene was born in Concord, son of Charles and Bessie Ballard Oxford, and brother to Fred, Paul, Clay, Martha, Kate, and Annie Elizabeth, his father. Tommy also has a document that shows that Robert Eugene was a first lieutenant, as already been said, in the U.S. Army Air Force, and that he died January the 20th, 1944, and that he is memorialized at Manila American Cemetery in Manila, Philippines. He was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross Air Medal. Tommy also had a letter from Robert Eugene's fiancée, telling what information she feels should be shared in this service today. She said that we rejoice today because we know Robert Eugene Oxford has been in heaven over 70 years now. We have kept him in our hearts all these years and have told our family and friends about him. Through God's love, she said, we are here today to rejoice that Robert Eugene Oxford was a Christian. He was a volunteer in the Air Force in our time of need. She said, I want to commend the young relatives for keeping up the hope, keeping up the search to bring these remains back to Concord and Pike County. May this day be a reminder to our youth that young men and young women do die in the service, but if they belong to Jesus Christ, they never die. If Robert Eugene Oxford could speak today, he would tell us that he loves us, but he is in heaven and waiting to greet us.
Go to heaven shouting, love for the Father and the Son. Go to heaven shouting, love for the Father and the Son.
I've had the privilege to talk to many veterans, share my admiration for them, and they're quick to say that they're not heroes. The heroes are the ones who never made it back home. And that means that in my eyes, this gentleman is a hero to my heroes. That's a special category. He was a hero that graduated Midland Army Flying School and immediately joined the war effort. He was excited to serve along with his brothers, this great country. And we gather here knowing the story. You've already heard it shared once that Lieutenant Oxford was on a cargo run heading from India back to China, and what a great opportunity it was for the two great nations to serve together in fighting against an enemy, a war, and yet they worked and labored as the planes would fly in supplies and gather there in China and work together and labor together. He lived in a time that we as a nation called the Great Depression. That was a time where this generation showed their true grit. It was in these days that the fortitude of strength to persevere was honed into so many people. As a young boy, he would have been shaped by the attitude of those, his parents and others around him, that pressed on and stood so strong in those times. Not long behind those years would come the tragic news out of Pearl Harbor, and the word that the United States was now at war. He saw his brothers stand up and take their place to serve their country, and immediately upon graduation, he took his place in line. And friends, it's a special kind of person who can look at the horrors of war, who can hear the tales of those who've gone before you, and still say, I want to take my place to serve my country. I've always felt that when a man or woman joins the armed forces, they in essence give the country a blank check. They've already signed their name on the dotted line, not knowing what may come in the years ahead. They simply say, I'm here to serve and defend this great nation against all foes, both foreign and domestic. Lieutenant Oxford took his place to serve and defend this great nation. He had no way of knowing that the blank check he signed would cost him his life. In the time he served, he did so honorably. You've heard that he was trained and became part of the 14th Air Force, 308th Bomb Group, 425th Bomb Squadron as a bombardier. His life of service continues today. You say, well, Pastor, we've not seen him. How can his service continue today? I believe his life can be used to encourage all of us to sign our name on the line and take our place to serve. We can serve to make our country a better place, to make our community a better place. This may be in military service, or it may be in civilian service, but the point is every single one of us can serve to make this a better place. And in essence, we get to keep this serving spirit we see in Lieutenant Oxford alive by allowing this spirit to be seen in us. Two great nations represented as we gather here, coming together as one and saying that we're where we are today, and we're who we are today, because men and women took their place to serve in that great time. They made the sacrifice. And I believe if this crew could be with us today, they would say, like all the other veterans I've talked to, I was not a hero. I was just doing my job. Today we know they did more than just their jobs. They sacrificed their lives that the war would be won and that our freedoms would remain intact. The sacrifice of Lieutenant Oxford and the others that day was a high price to pay and worthy of our praise and admiration. They were men of sacrifice, and we should be thankful for their service and the lives they lived. So we honor a man's service, we honor a man's sacrifice, and we honor a country's sentiment. We leave no one behind. The black and white POW MIA flag you see over here touches my heart every time I see it. It's a reminder that we still have work to do. We have heroes to find. We have families to help. Today we honor that sentiment as 74 years later we gather to bring home a hero. And in doing so, we send out a loud message that says, we do not quit and we do not give up. It says that heroes mean something to this country. Heroes mean something to us, and their families will always be special to us. To the Oxford family and descendants, this is a special day. A day long in coming. It's a day that some of them may have thought never would happen. It's a day that many of Lieutenant Oxford's family longed to have and never got to experience. But today, our country got it right. It may have been 74 years in coming, but Lieutenant Robert Eugene Oxford is home. We can celebrate that fact and we can rejoice in this moment. Indeed, for this family, today is a day of closure on a life that remained open far too long. But let me remind all of us, the work is not done. There are still others that need to come home. And we as a nation must honor our sentiment of no man left behind. Today, we as a nation know where 7 men are who need to be brought home. We leave no one behind. And to be the nation we claim to be calls for a return to the mountainside of India. Let me share the names that cannot be forgotten and do not deserve to be And if you have family members here, please forgive me if I mispronounce a name. These were the other 7 on that flight that day. First Lieutenant William A. Swanson. Flight Officer Sheldon L. Chambers. First Lieutenant Erwin Zace. Staff Sergeant Charles D. Ginn. Staff Sergeant Harry B. Queen. Sergeant James A. Henson. Sergeant Alfred H. Garrett. These men, like Lieutenant Oxford, are heroes. They are worthy of the accolades that we give to him today. Let us not leave anyone behind, especially when we know where they are. This is a great American sentiment. To Lieutenant Robert Eugene Oxford, we say thank you on behalf of a grateful nation. To the family gathered here, we offer our condolences and are glad that this day has finally come. To the families of the other crew members, our prayers go out to you, and we long to do whatever we can to see that your loved one comes home. We are thankful for their service, thankful for their sacrifice, and thankful for a country that will not forget there's still work to be done.
That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless